What does Manchester United's midfield look like in 2027? I want you to close your eyes for a second and really visualize it. No, seriously, do it. Picture Old Trafford. Picture the floodlights hitting the turf on a Champions League night. It is pouring rain, typical Manchester weather, and the crowd is roaring that deep, guttural roar that only happens when we are chasing a title. Who is wearing the number 8 shirt? Who is wearing the number 10? Because if the whispers coming out of Carrington this week are anything to go by, the picture in your head might be about to change drastically. We are talking about Cole Palmer. Before we dive into this madness, smash that like button right now and hit subscribe. Let us show the algorithm that the United fan base is awake and we mean business. Yes, you heard me right. The whispers are getting louder. And look, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking there is no way Chelsea sells their crown jewel to us. You're thinking this is just agent talk, or maybe just clickbait to get us excited during a slow news week. But the fact that we are even whispering about snatching Chelsea's best player suggests something has shifted. It suggests INEOS is finally looking at the top shelf again. It feels arrogant. And honestly, I love it. It has been a long time since Manchester United acted like the big dog in the yard. For too long, we have been the ones picking up scraps or overpaying for players past their peak, acting like a retirement home for superstars who just want one last payday. We became the club that other teams laughed at while they took our money. But targeting Cole Palmer, that is a statement of intent. That is saying, we do not care about your project, we care about our legacy. It reminds me of when we went and took Van Persie from Arsenal. It is ruthless, it is nasty, it is exactly what we used to be. And you have to look at the context here. We cannot ignore the Michael Carrick factor. Since he took over as interim and then got the job permanently, something has settled. The ship is not just steady, it is actually moving forward. We are winning games, sure, but it is more than that. The panic is gone. You watch the games now and you do not feel like you are about to have a heart attack every time the opposition crosses the halfway line. The conversation has shifted from saving the season to building the dynasty. And when you are building a dynasty, you do not look for squad players, you look for kings. Now, we need to have a difficult conversation, and I mean a really difficult one that might hurt a little bit. We need to talk about Bruno Fernandes. See, to build the future, you sometimes have to dismantle the present. And Bruno has been our present for a long time. He has been the heartbeat, the lungs, and the soul of this team through some very dark periods. When everyone else hid, Bruno wanted the ball. When we were losing 4-0 at Brentford, he was the only one running. But we have to be rational here. We have to be analytical. We cannot let our hearts make business decisions. Bruno turns 32 later this year. That's just a biological fact. The man has played an insane amount of football. He runs until his legs give out. But the 2026 World Cup is looming, and we have to ask ourselves, can we build the next 5 years around a player who is entering the twilight of his physical peak? It is the cycle of football. It is cruel, but it is real. Look at Casemiro. Remember how quickly he fell off a cliff? One season he was world class, the next he looked like he was towing a caravan. Do we want to be in that position with Bruno, paying him $350,000 a week while he struggles to keep up with the pace of the Premier League? Then you have the Saudi factor. The rumors about Al Hilal are not going away. They are hovering like a drone. We rejected £100 million once. Can we afford to reject it again when he has 12 months left on his contract? Analytically, if we are being cold, if we are acting like a serious club like Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, we have to consider it. Real Madrid sold Casemiro and Varane at the perfect time. They sold Ronaldo at the perfect time. We cannot be caught unprepared. We cannot let a $100 million asset walk away for free because we were too sentimental to make a decision. This is where the succession plan comes in. And this is where the dream of Cole Palmer starts to make a lot of tactical sense. Think about how Carrick is setting us up, that 3-2-5 build-up structure. He wants control, he wants technical security, but specifically, he wants that right-sided number 10 to drift inside. He wants someone who can operate in the pockets, in the half spaces, and damage the opposition without needing 50 yards of space to run into. Cole Palmer lives in that right half space. It is his house. He pays the mortgage on it. We have had a creativity problem from that specific zone since, well, probably since Juan Mata was in his prime. Antony was supposed to be that guy, but he is a touchline winger who slows the game down. Sancho never quite found the rhythm and wanted the ball to feet too much without the movement. But Palmer has that pause, you know what I mean? That ability to stop time in the box. It is called la pausa in Spain. It is when everyone else is running at 100 miles per hour and the player just stops. He puts his foot on the ball, waits for the defender to commit, and then slides a pass through a gap that didn't exist a second ago. He does not panic. He has that ice in his veins. Imagine that alongside Kobbie Mainoo. Just picture it. Kobbie controlling the tempo deep, resisting the press, and then finding Palmer between the lines. It is technical perfection. It is the kind of football that wins Champions Leagues. Before we get to the risks, quick reminder to hit like and subscribe if you are enjoying this deep dive. It really helps the channel grow. But, and there is always a but, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The injuries. We cannot sit here and pretend his 2025-26 season has been perfect. The groin issues are worrying. He has had a rocky start. 4 goals in 13 games is not the Ballon d'Or form we saw previously. And as United fans, we have PTSD when it comes to signing injury-prone players. We've been burned so many times. We bought Hargreaves, brilliant player, knees made of glass. We bought Varane, world class, could not play 3 games in a row. We bought Mason Mount, and well, we know how that went. So, is Palmer another sick note? Or is it a Chelsea problem? You have to ask questions about their medical department, about their training load. Maybe, just maybe, getting him into our system with our sports science team, which INEOS has completely revamped, changes that trajectory. However, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Did you see his cameo against Napoli? That 45 minutes was pure magic. It was a reminder that form is temporary, but class is permanent. He came on and suddenly the geometry of the pitch changed. Passes that were not there suddenly appeared. He receives the ball with his back to goal, spun the defender like he wasn't even there, and curled one onto the post. That is the X factor. That is the thing you cannot coach. If Chelsea's financial mess, their PSR situation, opens the door even 1%, you have to try and kick it down. You do not get chances to sign generational English talent often. If they need to sell to balance the books, and we are sitting there with cash and a project under Carrick that looks exciting, the door might be more open than we think. But maybe you are sitting there thinking that is too risky. Maybe you want something safer, something more physical. Enter Morgan Rogers. This is the other name on the list. The rumors are suggesting an £87 million plan. And I know, 87 million sounds like a lot of money. It sounds like the English tax is hitting hard. It sounds like the kind of fee that makes you wince a little bit. But let's look at the data. Let's look at the smart reality. Morgan Rogers is not a playmaker in the same sense as Palmer. He is not going to caress the ball into the top corner from a standing start. Rogers is a tank. He is a physical anomaly. If Palmer is a surgeon, Rogers is a battering ram. I was looking at his metrics this morning. His progressive carries are off the charts. He does not tass through the lines, he drives through them. He picks up the ball in midfield and he just goes. He bounces defenders off him like they are toddlers. 7 goals and 5 assists this season in an Aston Villa side that is fighting for the top 4? That is serious output. That is Premier League proven output. Think about Yaya Toure at Manchester City. I hate to bring up a City player, but remember how he used to just run through teams? Just pure power and stride length. Rogers has a bit of that. He creates chaos. When he starts running, the opposition defense collapses because they have to send 2 or 3 players to stop him, and that leaves space for Højlund, for Rashford, for Garnacho. The debate here is about profile. Carrick's system relies on energy. It relies on pressing. Rogers gives you that intensity. He fits the modern Premier League pace perfectly. He is the safe bet in terms of physical adaptation. You know he can handle a rainy Tuesday night in Stoke, or well, a rainy Sunday afternoon at Brentford. He is rarely injured. He is built like a linebacker. Is 87 million too much? Maybe, but you are paying for certainty. You are paying for a player who is 23, hungry, and physically dominant. It is the Galactico bet with Palmer versus the Premier League powerhouse bet with Rodgers. Quick pause here because I am looking at the stats on my other screen. This is interesting. Rodgers completes 3 times more dribbles per 90 minutes than Palmer. But Palmer creates 2 times more big chances. That is the fundamental difference. One is a ball carrier, the other is a chance creator. Which profile does this team need more? Think about our current squad. Think about Rasmus Højlund. Does he need someone to carry the ball to him, or does he need someone to put it on a plate? Højlund makes great runs, but how often do we see him throwing his arms up in frustration because the pass didn't come? Palmer sees that pass. Rodgers might not see it, but he might win the free kick on the edge of the box that leads to a goal. Also, consider the partnership with Kobbie Mainoo. This is crucial. If you play Rodgers next to Mainoo, you have a very dynamic, athletic midfield, but maybe you lack a bit of guile against a low block. If you play Palmer ahead of Mainoo, you have incredible creativity, but are you defensively light? Can Palmer press for 90 minutes? These are the questions Carrick and Dan Ashworth must be debating in the boardroom right now. So here we are, the fans' dilemma. We are standing at a crossroads. On one side, we have Path A, the dream. We go all in for Cole Palmer. We take the risk on the fee, we take the risk on the injuries because we believe his ceiling is winning the Ballon d'Or. We believe he brings that arrogance, that swagger that United has been missing since Cantona, since Ronaldo. We believe he is the heir to the throne. He is the player who puts bums on seats. He is the player kids buy the shirt of. On the other side, we have Path B, the reality. We sign Morgan Rodgers. We bring in physical dominance. We bring in a player who fits the high-energy, high-pressing game that defines modern football. It is less romantic, maybe. It is less likely to sell shirts in Tokyo, but it might be the piece that wins us the league because he's available every single week. He gives us that spine, that toughness we have been accused of lacking. And then, of course, there is the third option, the sentimental option. The option that tugs at the heartstrings. We give Bruno Fernandes a lifetime contract. We say, thank you for everything. Here is the keys to the club. Stay until you are 36. We ignore the decline, we ignore the money from Saudi, and we hold on to our captain because we love him. But looking at how INEOS operates, looking at how they have cut costs and ruthlessly reorganized the backroom staff, I do not think that is on the table. They are cold, they are calculating. They want to win, not make friends. For me, look, a Manchester United shirt weighs heavy. It is not just fabric, it is lead. You need someone who does not just play football, but demands the ball when things are going wrong. You need someone who walks out at Anfield and puffs their chest out. Palmer has that arrogance. I have seen it. He wants the pressure. He shushes the crowd. Rodgers has the hunger, he has the drive, but does he have that main character energy? We have spent years trying to be clever. We bought potential, we bought systems players. Maybe it is time to just buy the best talent available. Maybe it is time to be united again. But if I had to put my money on the table, if I had to choose the player who changes the destiny of the club, I think you have to chase the magic. You have to chase the special ones. You can find engines, you can find runners. You cannot find many players who see the game in slow motion. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. This is the big question. If INEOS puts £100 million on the table this summer, do you go for the dream, which is Cole Palmer, or do you go for the reality, which is Morgan Rodgers? Or do we just ignore the logic and keep Bruno forever? Let's argue below. I read every single comment. Drop a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.